Hello and welcome to another Lord of the Rings Rise to War video. I'm the player who plays as the King Under the Mountain, and today I am going to be doing a season update review video. I haven't done one for a week or so, and quite a lot has changed in the map because of a couple of different things. So as you can see, I've got loads of resources. And if I just try and go into what day it is, because I think the last one I did was day 28. So this is now day 32. So in those few days, a lot has changed. We're going to start by with the leaderboards, and then we'll go to the map because it probably makes just as much sense. So from a production point of view, we're still sat in 4th. We're really not trying to push that at this moment in time. We've got quite a few tiles open to take some tiles in case we need to do some pathing, because I've been in Mordor pathing for a little while. So that's that. So I'll just go through the top 20 or 30 or so. So there's some Echo in there, some Odin, some Kilt. Lots of Odin in there, actually. A bit of Ibis. So it's still a good mix. The only people who aren't in there, there's a bit of Otter in there in the top 50. Don't think there's any Meow or Avalon in there, but there you go. That's that at the moment. So they've been pushed quite heavy in the last few days. Merit wise, Raven's absolutely flying as usual. This is across the server, so at the moment you have me in 4th. I was in 3rd for a little period of time, but I've been doing some clearing in the central land, so I've kind of not done much PvP in the last few days. Mesh represented in the top 10. We'll kind of go into what's happened with them as well at some stage during this video. But it's been an active server so far. As you can see, the top 100 will be way over 1 million now, I'd think. But pretty much everyone's at 1.8, 1.5. It's been a good fighting server. So the bottom is 1.5 million, which is pretty respectable. But I think it's probably the best we've ever had for a fellowship for a week. I can't show it because it resets, but I'm pretty sure last week as a fellowship we had 9 players over 1 million in the week, which I don't think we've had before, which is good for us really. So that's the leaderboard side of it. I forgot to show the fellowship ranking. So we are currently top in production. We've obviously been farming a little bit. Honk a second. Odin and Otter are still pretty high up as a kingdom. Ibis and Echo are also still pretty high up as a kingdom. Spard and Mesh are pretty high up as a kingdom. And then Avalon and Meow no longer are a kingdom, but we'll go into that. But they've still got around 1 million each production. And then you have the Gome Raw Kingdom, which is around 1.6. And then you've got Mad and a few others like Peen and June. These guys here are sort of fighting out in the top corner. And then Rots are on the east. I always forget Rots, so I'm really pleased I went down that far, so I won't forget. Commander board wise, I know I like looking at this. It is starting to get the familiar faces towards the top end with the odd person sort of filtered in, like Shadows and Saruman's, particularly Saruman's to be honest. A couple of Sestaros. You can tell the players that used to be purely evil players. To be fair, who's just that? Anyway, that was that one. So the top 100 is pretty much full of the commanders that you'd expect, with the odd one filtered in. But there is more of a variety now than what you saw last season, which I guess is what the game were going for. There is a reinforcement sniper somewhere on my route, I think, because I died to one. So there you go. I need to sort that out later. I've only had one fight really this week as it now resets, and that was with my B team. And they pretty much crushed this guy. It's a pretty handy B team, to be honest. I just need to work out if Gandalf the Grey or Falcon's going to sit in here. Gear wise, I think I'd prefer Gandalf the Grey, but I am a Dwarf Lord, so I do love Falcon. So that's kind of, with it being today the reset, that's the only fight I've had so far this week. Let's go to the map, which is dramatically changed. So, shortly after I did my last update video, this is the Odin Otter Kingdom. So they would have owned Lorien, which is here. They actually pushed right the way across here. So Belfast was green. which is kind of why a team of us got sent down here to try and gain these lands back. So also some Honk have come down from here. So this is the Honk and Kilt Kingdom, which I'm in. So you've got Honk coming down from here. You've got us coming up from here, sort of way. We took this pass yesterday, so and then we're trying to clear back the lands as they came through Tower and into here. So we're probably going to try and get into this area. I think it's probably, you know, no need to allude to anything else. But the other thing that's happened is we pushed back through Lorien. And we are pretty much camped now at this this pass here into sort of Durin's Vale and into Moria area. I think it's this one actually here. So we're kind of camped around here at the moment. We still own the ring. And last night, I believe it was, or early in the morning, whichever way around you want to look at it, we actually took this keep here, which basically sort of dissolved the Kilt, sorry, not the Kilt, that's our kingdom, the Avalon and Meow kingdom. Meow are already reforming in the south, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. They're also set up at this pass, but there's a mix of them, so I'm not sure how they're going to go about that. This is the Rot kingdom. This is Ibis and Echo. This is Gome and Raw. And over here is Mesh and Spod, which is this kingdom here. So to sort of talk through what happened, Meow and Avalon have been great opponents, and they've been a constant thorn in the south side of our sort of lands all season, and I'm sure they'll continue to be. We've pushed them quite heavily in the last 3 to 4 days and tried to dissolve this kingdom just to give us a couple of days break from the fact that they path us to death and everything else. And they've got some pretty strong fighters, and I'll show some fights from there because I've been down there the last couple of days as well. With me being down here, it's kind of the same distance, flying across from one to the other. So what I've been doing is flying my main over to wherever the fort is, and then transporting troops and then switching the troops in the fort. Really effective way. So what is in effect a 3-hour march time to get to here for me, and over here was I think a 3-hour march time as well. I was getting there in about 50 minutes, which wasn't too bad really, all things considered. The reason all this has been able to happen, and I think everyone in the server knows this because of the way that the fighting stopped. So we actually took this pass back here. Honk came over and helped us, and we lost some ground around DG, but we felt that we needed the buffer because we were basically being hit from all angles, and it was tough. But these passes are on the outside, not the inside, so they're a lot easier to take back than they are to take because they're quite easy to defend, particularly when you can now trap guard people if they're sort of 2 or 3 seconds back from actually hitting the pass, which is really awkward. So thankfully, we came to an agreement with Ibis and Echo for a nap for a period of time. And that was mainly because we felt that our goals kind of aligned for that sort of short period. We were getting pushed from all angles. We felt we wanted to deal with the fact that Green Kingdom were coming through here. And obviously Meow and Avalon were trying to come up from the south. They were getting hit by Mesh and Spod around this sort of area. And a little bit of Raw and Gome as well. So they've kind of come north. We've kind of gone across here. So at the moment, we are not fighting the Ibis and Echo Kingdom. And that's why we've had the time to go and probably put some pressure on other kingdoms that we didn't have before, if we're being honest. So what Ibis and Echo have actually done is they pushed straight up through here. And secured this pass. You'll see now there's a lot of pins around here with Mesh and Spod. Spod are friendly. They started the season with Odin in this Green Kingdom, and then kind of left and went up round here. So they are friendly. Don't think that's unfair to say. Same as we're friendly with Peen. So there's a few small pins here, but where they're actually at now is over here into this Karok pass, and they are pushing through. To be fair to Mesh in particular and Spod as well, but Mesh in particular, they've only been formed for a couple of seasons, I think it is. And they do fight hard, and they are a little bit outgunned by Ibis in particular and a little bit of Echo. So with them being able to full focus them pretty much, it's been very difficult for Mesh and Spod to sort of hold them. They've done the best they can though. I mean, the pins have been good and they've fought really hard. but it's probably a little bit of a mismatch. But it's nice to see a team that's sort of fairly newly formed doing very well. There is still this Mad June and Mesh pin up here as well, which is sort of at 5 million participants. You've got Otter Brav over here, which is a small pin. You have Mesh and Mad over here, which is another small pin. You have Outcast and OsBT, who are in this Enedwath region, which is a little bit crazy. Then you've got the bigger pins. It's only one day, so we actually took this keep yesterday, so this is kind of a fresh pin. This Lorien pin got cut short, I would say, to be honest, by the fact that there was the nap here, so it got pushed through. Then you've got another pin here, so they're all moving pins at the moment because there's a lot of action going on. Even Peen involved in a pin. I think this one's pretty good. Yeah, so this is only a 3-day pin with 8.5 million. This has been an interesting fight and where I've kind of spent the last few days. A couple more fights up there. It's been a really, really active, fun server, and I hope it kind of, at this point, it's about halfway through. I hope it does carry on into the last few weeks, and there's plenty of action for all to have, because that's what we all play the game for ultimately. This sort of action. So I'm hoping to move to a new front soon, because it was sort of a panic move really to move behind the capital at the time, and start spreading through. So I don't think it gives away too much. If I just zoom in a little bit, you'll see my thoughts are pretty spread across pretty much the entire map. So it's an interesting one. And when using Eagles to get around and then just transporting troops really cuts down the time, so you can get around and be effective in different areas. So that's kind of the map and sort of the Diplo side of it. I don't really like going too much into the Diplo, but I felt it was important to explain that stop has allowed other things to happen. So that's kind of where that's at. Commander levels wise, Withers putting Saruman in for Shadow. We have 350s and a 47. He's slowly being bought up. Hopefully we'll get him to 48 today, but might be a struggle to find some fights. Shadow's currently in the B team, like I say, with Witch King, Bjorn, and Falcon, which is a pretty solid B team, to be honest, for what I have, so that's good. And then the only other thing really I was going to show was just a few battle reports, to be honest, because it's been a strange few days, to say the least, and I kind of showed them in yesterday's video, so I'll sort of keep them quite brief. Couldn't help but press that then. So this is the guy who, I really like this, but it's a really strange way of doing it. So this guy uses King of Men as a tank, and a pretty effective tank, to be perfectly honest, and that's because of his... he's got sort of half command. It'd be interesting if he got more command in there, but using this R5 skill for this damage increase and the reduction for Stun and Madness. With so much Stun and Madness around at the moment, it's a really, really clever move. Not sure how I feel about the heal. I don't know what heal he's got in this fight. Probably have a quick look. So he's got 12k heal for 10 points. I mean, for me, that's probably not really enough. I would probably still go into some of his damage tree and try and find a sort of balance between a command helm and a command weapon or accessory, and put the other one as damage and give him a little bit of damage just to try and sort of do that. But yeah, he's got a solid formation, to be honest. I like his formation, but it works really well for him. He's really tanky and really hard to beat. So that was that one. This was Revan the Jackal, who again, a solid team. We've kind of been able to rock medium units for the last few days just because there's not been as much fighting. But using Scalhelm to good effect as well. I'm still not a massive Scalhelm fan for the amount of investment for the damage, but when she hits early and hard, it's pretty impressive. This is just the Siege team doing well. This is because we were on one of the passes where the pass is on the outside and Alchemists were just dying left, right and centre, so we started using Guardians for Siege. Took a lot longer, but it was a lot more effective because you were loading up your B team with Guardians, and you were doing about 7.5k per formation, which as long as you've got enough people, it'll kind of make sure you do it. But it just meant that we didn't die as much, and we could take down some defenders. I think this was another one where again we killed some defenders. So, and I get my B team's a little bit of an exception in that way, but yeah, it was good. I don't know why it keeps loading up the previous battle report. Doing my head in. This guy's a bit of a whale, and this was quite an impressive report, I think, really and truthfully. He's got a Z2 Gandalf the White. He's got a Z1 Sauron with some good gear. Probably too much focus on Sauron for me, but you get what you're given, don't you, at the end of the day? Lovely Dane, and then a Shadow, which is also really, really cool. That'll be a disgusting amount of attack by the time this has gone through. So that was pretty interesting. It was a good fight. Again, Saruman doing his job. I got absolutely battered by Funk, even though he calls himself not Funk, but it is Funk. There was 40k of madness in this fight for me, which hasn't really done me any favours, which would have made it slightly closer, but realistically I should lose this fight. I say that. With the counter buff, I might be close. But realistically, with the gear and the investment level, I should lose that fight, and I'm okay with that. It's just a shame it wasn't closer due to the madness. I think, from memory, Saruman pretty much took out half my army in round 3. And then Dane, just for fun, also took out some of my army in round 3. I put these two in here because it was just to show you really that the counter buff on units is quite important. So I'm running smalls in this formation on this one. Again, Aegon's a really solid sort of player. This is why the people down in the south that I was kind of brought across to try and hit, really. So Aegon's a really solid player. That was with that one small unit. As soon as I switched to mediums and sort of matched up pound for pound, I beat him pretty comfortably. So it just goes to show you that the unit sort of buff and debuff is actually quite effective. And then the other one that I just want to show is Luna, who again has a good formation, uses Shire ponies pretty well. I would probably switch the Shire ponies to Bjorn personally. I've seen him work far more effectively on him. It allows him to just carry on through the fight and ramp up his damage. But yeah, really solid formation, and that was a good win. And that's kind of where I'm at with season updates. I think the plan is to have a live this weekend, and I think it's going to be based around formation. So I'm going to be asking for people's input at some point in the next day or two for what formations they're running that are a little bit off meta, some things that are working for free to play, some things that are working for medium spenders, those kind of things. Not just the standard top end formations, which I kind of did a video on that yesterday on what the ones that we're seeing the most. Just to sort of showcase that there are some formations at the moment out there that are hitting Wales hard, that are sort of middle of the road, you would probably say gear-wise. So try and keep that quite interesting. Be nice to get some engagement with people. So yeah, so that's kind of where we're at with the season. I think this next week will be quite telling to see where it finishes. Obviously, we're in a really strong position, and I'd like that to continue. I'm not going to get anywhere near the 8 million merit that I've been sort of getting for the last couple of seasons. I'd like to try and get to 5 or 6, I think. But fighting is becoming a little bit more sparse at the moment. So with that, I think that's everything I wanted to cover today. I hope everyone has a great day. And if in doubt, always follow your nose.